Okay, joining. Hold on here. This meeting is being recorded.
Yep.
Yes.
Right there.
Okay, we're in. All right. Thank you. Super great.
Finally got the class open. Gosh.
Okay, so which class is it? Did you?
It's just us so far.
That's strange because there was a good feedback on the note for the reminder for class today on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I see Pat came in.
Yep. Paul's here.
I wonder if it has anything to do with a holiday today. They say Martin Luther King Day, but it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, it literally doesn't. It has everything to do with the fact of this class having to be reoccurring. I have to reset it so it's locked into the channel again, so it just reoccurs. Because beforehand, I put it out so far, and it only went so far.
I hear you. I wonder if it had anything to do with not letting people in that are students in that started earlier than we got it connected. I'll put a quick note out.
Yep. Okay.
I would like to say hello, everyone, and welcome.
Right? Hello?
Hello, you
Good
hear me?
morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Well, shall we start? Shall we begin?
We're gonna give them a couple more minutes because of the technical difficulties that we had this morning.
Is Dan coming today?
He's supposed to be. He was all excited about it. Uh-oh, somebody's at the door.
I'm back. I had to step away for a second. I don't know if we did anything.
No, we did not. I believe Jeremy is answering the door.
You know, it's kind of interesting because if this ends up not being as well attended as most, it's a shame because they're probably going to miss a pretty good one for today, I think, with what we're going to go over.
Yeah, I agree.
Today we're going to be focusing on and looking at pseudo law, and how it can affect us in bad ways, and how as professionals or people that are trying to really do something that counts, we're going to try to avoid this line of thinking because it's seductive and it's very, very wrong, but it's so seductive.
Joey, I'm going to be sending you some emails for Tashina Fletcher's case. She's got something due and she reached out to me, and I I want to see if there's something quick we can draft up. It is very last minute, I will admit, but she's in our class.
Yeah, I had been working with her, and I had sent her some stuff too. She's got sufficient stuff to do it. I just don't know what time her filing time is done. We can do a ham sandwich at the very least, and that's cool.
Yeah, we should throw ham sandwich on the vocabulary list today.
Really? Actually, that would be a bad idea.
And anybody who is absent that comes in next week and gets tested will surely be perplexed.
Yeah, but if they've done anything for any amount of time, they know the value of the ham sandwich. It's one of the most valuable things in law. And more so than anything else, for the people that are here that don't really realize that a ham sandwich is when you file something, anything. It's a pleading that just barely conforms to the requirements that you can amend later. That you basically, it's a very shorthand, very much stop the clock, hit the reset button document. They are highly favored in the actual practice of law.
That's interesting. I thought they'd be disfavored.
Well, they're favored by the attorneys, probably disfavored by the court and the person who it's stalling.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I guess I should put that. Well, you know, everything works on a, usually you're working on a 20, 40, 60-day timer, or you're working on a 30, 60, 90-day timer. And so, and it's a tennis match that's right regular. And in most courts, like in federal court, you have the right to amend your pleading one time before the other side answers. And most other states give you that same option. And so sometimes you just mess up. Sometimes you just get busy in the course of life and things happen. You know, and for people that actually do this, you know, like we've been doing, you realize that writing a legal document is kind of not quite like just writing a letter or doing an email. You kind of have to have certain things in there, and you know, but you just mainly you got to stop the clock. You got to have a clock stopper or a reset. So, but she's right. The courts don't normally like them very much, but the actual trial courts, I would think, you know, trial judges are pretty busy too, and they got large calendars, and they've got to be in the courtroom about 3 days a week usually. So that only gives them another 2 days of the week to do the paperwork portion of their jobs. And they usually have staff attorneys and stuff. So when they get a ham sandwich, they can kind of smile to themselves and know that we're going to just put it off for another little while. You know, police officers file ham sandwiches all the time. And I think that's a travesty. I think that they should be the one group of people the state should be that does it.
Well, Jeremy, should we get started, or did you want to wait longer? It's 10 after. Are we going to begin with the quiz? Well, he might be speaking at the person at his door still. Oh, welcome, Parker. Yeah, well, I guess we do have more people kind of popping in. Can give it a couple more minutes.
Nicole, this is Holly. We had a little technical difficulty with the Zoom when people usually come on 10 minutes before 10. I had put a note out. Looks like people are filling, but I'm not quite sure where our regular students are right now.
Okay.
Right.
Missing 5 people.
I had trouble trying to come in on the using the old link. It just was no good, and so I shut it down, and then I went to the link that was furnished today. So they may be sitting on that other link, the previous link.
I'll call the webmaster really quick.
Okay. Yeah, I think if we set it to recurring meetings, then we could just use the same link every week, and that could be really simple.
Yes, it was set to recurring meetings, but for some reason it got kicked out. He reset it, and then here we are, but half our class is gone. So I'm just going to call real quick. I'm sorry for the delay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I do thank everyone though for sticking in with us, and well, I'll do it face to face. I thank y'all for sticking with us. It's going to be exciting today. One of the things I do want to emphasize is stick through it. Just hold on, because it'll be fun. Because at the end of it, we're probably going to have like a little round robin discussion, because we're going to challenge some probably long held beliefs or quasi beliefs that a lot of folks have. And especially when we do our work, whether it's for our own selves or whether we do it to help a friend that's in need or stuff like that right there. If we start building our foundation in the areas that we're going to talk about today, we will go horribly, horribly wrong. And there will be terrible, terrible consequences, both to others and to ourselves if we have a conscience about ourselves. And I'm not trying to tell you this, because what we're going to do today is going to challenge some of you guys' fundamental beliefs. These beliefs have arisen because a lot of folks treat the law as a religion, and the courthouse they think is a church. And so like any good religion, after a while, you're going to have schisms, you're going to have sects, you're going to have denominations and stuff like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about kind of how some of the splinter beliefs of American jurisprudence especially can are very seductive, very just, we want to believe them because they sound so right, especially if we have experienced a lot of angst and stuff in our lives and we feel the system's not doing us wrong. I appreciate the angst, and the angst is well felt, but the way we approach it to our solutions is going to have to be solid if we're going to be professionals and prevail, and not be like some of the people that I'm going to show you cases of today that they did not prevail. They did the opposite of prevail. And we want to help you not to do that. And we want to make sure that when you're helping somebody, you know not to do some of these easy hits that could lead to more trouble than it's worth.
Nicole, I checked with the webmaster, and there isn't another link people could be held on in this setup. So since it's recorded, if we could, you know, start, then I will make an announcement in as to the link where the what today's recorded class is, and then they can catch up.
Alrighty, yeah, that sounds good. Here's Jeremy.
Okay, well, I guess we can go ahead and start. We have prepared a test for y'all. If you all have studied the vocab and get everything ready for what you're ready to take the quiz today, we've got the link set up, and it is times of the words.
And we are here to help you with all your AT&T protection. AT&T Protect.
Is anybody having a difficult time hearing Jeremy?
Yes, it seems that we can't hear him at all
You're gonna
now.
have to put it in your own wording when you're in, and to make it so you can understand what's going
Jeremy?
on, and we're gonna try to answer questions. Yep, what's going on, Nicole?
Your audio is in and out, and we kind of missed what you said, but I think the nutshell of what you're saying is that we're going to issue the quiz, and we pretty much have to define or give an example of the word in our own words. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Wonderful. And did you say it would be timed? How long do they have to complete the test?
I have to make sure. 1 second. Let me go and look at this again. 1 second. I'm hosting the program, or hosting the Zoom call, so it's slowing my computer down.
Well, maybe in the meantime, while you're getting that loaded up,
Yep.
I can review what the vocabulary words are. Let me just take a quick look for those. Okay, so last week's vocabulary words were quo warranto, ultra vires, reasonable doubt, reasonable person, clear and convincing evidence, preponderance of the evidence, probable cause, grand jury, petite jury, arbitration, and mediation. And so as he was saying, if you can just define it quickly in your own words. And I made each one of the questions required, because if you don't know it, just go ahead and take your best guess. We're not, we're obviously like seeing what you got right and what you got wrong, but the feedback really helps us to understand what areas we need to review and where we need to like focus to make sure that all of the gaps are filled in. And and it may just bring up some interesting discussions. So Jeremy, how's it going over there with you?
Okay, it looks like it's, it doesn't have a time setting on it. I don't know why. I have to find it again, but now it's not timed. So here, I'm just gonna send the link to everybody so they can have the copy.
Okay, great. And just because there's no time limit, try to not just copy and paste answers off the internet, please, because I'm gonna check to see if they're copied and pasted from the internet. So please, in your own words and your own understanding. And welcome, Brian. You got here just in time for the test. So
Should we go to the test now and do that?
yes, I believe he posted it or he's sent it out.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. And I think we'll probably go ahead and start class in 20 minutes, so that will be the natural timer of things, okay? And when you're finished, just let us know, because if everybody finishes first, then we'll just go ahead and begin.
Copy that. Thank you.
Is my audio better now?
So far, yes.
Okay, perfect. Has everyone been able to access the quiz? I'm just asking a question real quick, just make sure.
Yes,
Yes,
Hi, Tashina, just in case you weren't here when we said Jeremy posted a quiz, and if you want to take it and just define or give an example of the vocabulary words in your own words, that would be wonderful.
After the quiz is over, I'm going to show everyone a video real quick pertaining to the type of subject matter that Joey's going to go over here in a little bit, just to freshen you up on kind of what the problem is.
Jeremy, are you on? Can you hear me?
I sure am.
Okay, so I just got a call from Fairbanks, and she went to the Martin Luther King Free Legal Desk because we're fighting SCO 1993 and subpoenaing the Supreme Court judges is what the grand jury is trying to do right now. Anyway, they would not talk to her about this situation. They would not give her any. It was advertised as free legal free legal advice for this Martin Luther King Day celebration in Fairbanks, but they would not talk to Kelly Nash about anything about the Supreme Court order that was just installed December 1st. So they're helping only who, I don't know if it's the color of their skin or what the deal is, but they're not helping the locals that are trying to deal with real life things here. So I don't know if that's a surprise or not. And the second thing is they're using the Alaska Whistleblowers Act in Amy Domboski is using it against the mayor of Anchorage right now. And I guess that just came out to Kelly shared. So anyway, I'm finished with my quiz. So I just wanted to let you know that too. So I've got that done.
Very good, very good. Okay, yeah, in a minute, I'm going to just play this video so Joey can do his presentation. I don't really know all the details of that. I just know that if there is something under review, they're trying to, they're starting an investigation or something. Some of that stuff's not just talked about. So if you guys have activated certain things, I just don't know if what's going on with her, if she's even talked to the right person. I mean, sometimes you can be talking to the dishwasher and he has no idea what the cook's talking about. You know what I mean? Like, what's the recipe here? No, talk to the cook. You know what I mean? Mentality. So that's kind of what you run into sometimes.
Well, they have a table set up in Fairbanks somewhere for this holiday, for this event, Martin Luther King Day. There's lawyers at a table to answer public's questions, but they won't answer questions regarding our situation with SCO 1993.
Probably because it has to do with the highly voltage answers and stuff like that. And they don't want to go under any scrutiny. That's probably all it is.
Yeah, well, that's what they're there for. So yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but truth is a treason and empire of lies, so you don't really want to go in too far.
I hear you.
Well, you know what they're doing? Those lawyers are there trolling for clients, because if they can get an easy hit on a discrimination case, then they're looking at least 50 grand. And so it's real easy to fish in a pool where they've been feeding the fish that you're after. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, yeah. It's a business decision by the lawyers. They have no clue about the real deal or real legal answers to real legal questions. They're up there to determine whether or not you're a member of a protected class, did somebody do you wrong or treat you bad as a result of it, and if you had any damages, and then they're gonna hook you up. Because that's better than a medical malpractice case, or it's better than even a personal injury case. You got to realize I did discrimination law for a long time too. And those cats, I mean, there's no medical bills to pay. There's no extra money. It's a pure cash case. And they have got a funnel feeding to them right now, today. And so, you know, this is their next year's cases. That's probably why he sponsored it. And they don't have any clue about the real problems in the world. That's all I have.
Okay, in about 4 minutes, I'm going to start this video so you can we can kind of crystallize the issue that we're going to talk about today. Okay, I'm going to basically essentially start the video because this is actually a little tiny video. It's kind of a little bit long. However, what's going on is there's just a lot of teachings that are going across the country. Some of them are kind of really grabbing a hold of people's conscience, and they really believe in them. And some of the people are being led astray. And some people have been effective and actually had their cases dismissed. And I do believe that some of that does fall in the realm of maybe they just didn't want to deal with it. And then a person that wins that type of case turns into like this, I guess, they think they're like the second coming of Moses or whatever. I don't understand what it is, but the aspect of it is they believe they got a good argument, and sometimes they do have a good argument. However, they just didn't do it correctly, and then they're arguing with the dishwasher, and that's just really not where you want to go with anything. So what I wanted to do is show you an example of people trying to utilize some of these arguments and how they play out when they do in these type of situations. And it's kind of horrifying, but it needs to be addressed, and that's kind of what we're going to do today. So here we go. This is the video that I was about to show y'all concerning this type of conduct, and this is the results that people are getting. And it's not pretty, but this is what it looks like.
I'm good, officer. How are you? Can I get your name and badge number for the record, please? Lieutenant Cochran with Powder Springs Police Department. First name, Lieutenant? Lieutenant Cochran. What's your first name, Lieutenant? It's irrelevant. I need to see your license and proof of insurance. If your name is irrelevant, so is mine, officer. Sir, I need to see your license and proof of insurance. Are you conducting an investigation? Yes, sir, I am. I have you for speeding, 72 and 55. So I need to see your driver's license. Is speeding a crime? Yes, it is. I need to see your license and proof of insurance, sir. Can you prove that I'm driving? Sir, I need to see your license and proof of insurance. Am I driving? Yes, sir. No, I'm not. I'm traveling. I am going to continue to film. And it is not a crime for me to travel without a license and proof of insurance, sir. What you may have, I'm giving you a lawful order. What you may have, is the opportunity to read. Whoa. Assault. This is assault. You broke in my windows. I do not consent. Oh, this is police brutality. Stop. This is police brutality. I haven't done anything. I come in peace. I understand. I have not committed any crime. No marijuana coming from this vehicle. Okay? I will not step out of this vehicle. You have not committed a crime. You've never seen a crime. Terry, I have reason to believe a crime is afoot because I can smell marijuana coming from this vehicle. You understand that? Do you comprehend article? I have a lawful reason. You do not. Yes. Open up the vehicle. No. I would like to see your supervisor. I want to see what kind of crime. Are you violating my case? Are you kidding? Help! 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 I do not consent! I do not consent! Help! Help! I do not consent! I do not consent! I do not consent! I do not consent! Yes, you have to have consent! Are you people not consent? I am not a resident of the state of Indiana! I am not whatever you think I am! I am not a resident of the state of Indiana! I'm going to search this vehicle. We do not consent to any kind of search. I didn't ask you to consent. No, you have to have consent. No, you do not. You do. You do not smell marijuana. I don't smell any marijuana. Oh, it reeks of marijuana. No, it doesn't. We don't smell any marijuana anywhere. Well, marijuana coming from the vehicle. You're refusing to get out of the vehicle. All right. Okay. So I don't consent to anything. I don't know what this guy's doing. No. No. You're going to assault him? Are you assaulting me? Are you assaulting me? You're assaulting him. We did not. Help! 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 Call the police! Call the... Sure, we are the police. No! Help me! Help me! What crime have I committed? What crime did you commit? You have to carry the vehicle. You get tased. You're gonna get tased. You're gonna get tased. Step out. Hey, what crime have I committed? What crime have I committed? Step out. What crime have I committed? Step out. What crime have I committed? Stop it! What crime have I committed? I have been a tased gun. No! Trying to attack my nuts. That is not proper use of that device. Stop it! You've been trained. Improper use of a taser. I know, baby. I'm not going to do anything. I just want my child. Please let me go. Just get your child out. Just go ahead and get your car. No. Call a lawyer right now. Which one? I don't want to get out the car. Let's go over there. How you going? How's it going? Hold on, let me get up there first. I'll talk to you. Can I say citizen, sir? Yes. I'm going to opt out. Well, the thing is, before we can proceed with immigration inspection, if you are, that's fine. I don't really care if you're German or whatever, but are you legally in the United States? I'm not sure. Okay, then we have to go ahead and take you in. I know you're recording. We'll take you in, identify you, and then you can proceed. So you're detaining me? Yes, sir. Under what probable cause? On the probable cause at 18 U.S.C. 111. Code 18111 is not exceeding me or insuring a federal officer. Well, the thing is, sir, now that you're actually taking me away from my job. That's because you're choosing to keep me here. Yes, I am. You know why? That's your choice. You know why? Yes. Because I asked you a simple question. You're not saying citizen. But prior to our encounter, there was no probable cause to stop me. You know very well this is a immigration inspection. Yes. As a trucker, interstate trucker, yes. You're aware that in southern borders, California, Arizona, we have checkpoints. Yes. Right? And you know that they're going to ask you questions. You're asking everyone questions. Yes, every single one. Any code that you follow is subordinate to your Constitution. Okay, so my Fourth Amendment is unalienable. What is the Fourth Amendment, if you can tell me? It regards search and seizure. And I'm not seizing you, or actually, you just said you're detaining me. Yes, I'm detaining. That's not a seizure. Do you know what a seizure means? You're seizing. You know what a seizure means? Like confiscating? Yes, taking away that you're no longer. But the search part. The search part is not a search. I'm just asking you a simple. Why am I being detained? Because we're asking a question. I don't have to answer that. You're doing. Yeah. Did you hear what he just said? I heard he's trying to order me to do something, but I'm not listening. You have no registration. You have to It's called civil disobedience. Have you ever heard of it? You don't answer my question. Have you ever heard of it? You don't listen. Have you answered my question? Have you heard of civil disobedience? All right, have a nice day. So I don't care what they say. I'm driving. I don't really. Doesn't matter to me. 18 U.S.C. 111, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees. This is me. Forcibly, agent assaults, resists, opposes, impedes, intimidates, or interferes with any person signed in section 1114 of the title while engaged in or on account of the performance of his official duty. Motorists should not be permitted to proceed until agents are satisfied with inspection procedures. Okay? If the motorist refuses to exit the vehicle, agents will use the amount of force necessary to effect the arrest and enforce compliance to the lawful order, including removing the driver from the vehicle. The vehicle should be charged into arrest and moved to secondary inspection to allow resumption. You're not. I'm asking you this last time. Cooperate or you be extracted out of the vehicle. Cooperating. All right. So I'm asking you. I am cooperating. Okay. You gonna step out of the vehicle and talk to me, or you would not extract you out of this vehicle? This is all being recorded from both phones. Your phone and my phone. I don't want to be extracted from my phone. Okay. Are you gonna go ahead? Are you gonna go ahead and cooperate, sir? You want me to go inside? No. I need you to talk to me. You're an United States citizen. Simple yes or no. That makes no difference to me traveling down the road. I just want to go down the road. You will after I'm complete with my immigration inspection. Do you understand? I don't like these intimidations. It's not intimidation. It's the law. It's not the law. Penalty 3. Now we'll break this glass. Don't break the glass, man. 1. Open the door. 2. I haven't done anything wrong. Open the door. I haven't done anything wrong. Open the door. I'm not breaking any laws. Open the door. Man. I don't want to break the glass. Don't do it, man. It's not even my truck. I know. Then open the door. Man, this is absurd. I can't believe you would do this. I've complied as much as I need to. Stand back. No. Shit. Get out.
Can you take your glasses off for me, please?
Why not?
I don't feel safe with your glasses on it, and I would like to see your eyes.
Oh, you would?
Yep.
Okay. Where are you coming from?
That's not an issue.
Okay.
You have no right to ask me that. Where are you coming from?
I'm just checking on you.
Can you please take your glasses off so I feel a little safer?
Oh, the sun's in my eyes.
Okay, well then I will be leaving now.
Okay.
Thank you for your help, officer.
I've seen you been sitting here. So.
Okay. I don't feel safe with your glasses on. I don't feel safe with your glasses on.
Are you all right? I saw you. I passed by you here earlier.
Yeah, I'm not okay.
Okay. What's going on then?
I already told the other officer.
What other? Oh, the other. You talked to someone else?
Yeah, the guy that wasn't wearing glasses.
Okay.
I don't talk to cops that wear glasses.
Stopped by earlier?
He was. Okay, I'm not talking to you because you obviously don't have a clue what the hell is going on.
Okay, so are you leaving now or what?
Why does it matter what I'm doing, officer?
Well, see that sign right there?
What, the sign that says State Fish and Game Refuge?
No, the other one that says no parking fire lane.
Is there a fire going on here?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks for the camera. Hi.
You're welcome. So why don't you, leave then?
Okay, I'm gonna leave right now. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
I'll leave right now. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much for your help, officer. Have a good day.
Yeah, we just went through a breathalyzer. We were refused to stop through a breathalyzer test. So, yeah. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Free man on the land. Got 2 cars in pursuit, close by.
advertisement turbo.
Where, mate? No, mate. No, mate. Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest or am I free to go? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? I've been stopped on my way home. Am I under arrest? No, what? No. I do not consent. You've got no right. Whoa! This is thuggery. What the hell's going on? What the hell is going on? Look at the door. Under arrest. Officer, before we continue, I'd just like to let you know that you are being recorded right now.
Okay, that's fine.
So I would just like to know why I'm being pulled over.
We're doing a roadside safety check.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I being detained?
That?
Am I being detained?
Well, right now we're just conducting our job, making sure
Okay.
that everyone's on the road driving safe.
Okay. Is that
You're not free to leave.
so far? Everybody's being safe. Am I being detained then?
You're not free to leave.
Am I being detained?
You do have the legal right to stop you right now.
Oh, I
So,
believe this is unconstitutional, but
like you said, I'm asking for your driver's license.
you actually didn't ask me to prove my driver's license, but I'm actually not obligated to provide that if I'm not being detained. Whoa! Obligated. Get out now. Whoa! Get out now. Driving to privilege is not a right. I'm telling you to get out right now. Excuse me, I'm not. We have your license and insurance. Yes, you are resisting. I can provide. No, sir. And give us your license and insurance. Absolutely. Like you were there. Absolutely, sir. This is my license here. Okay, now get your insurance. Okay. That's required by law. All right. Driving to privilege, not a right. Absolutely, sir. I completely We're not going to sit here and debate with you. Okay, well, this is very unconstitutional what you're doing. No, you know what? And it's not unconstitutional. I already explained it to you. Driving to privilege is not a right. Understood. This is my driver's license. Good. Thank you. You're welcome. That's what you're required to do to drive in Illinois. You don't understand that? Absolutely. You understand that? I'd also like to inform you, you are being recorded right now. Good. Okay. Can I please shut my door? No. Since I'm not being detained. No. What am I being detained for exactly, sir? If I am being detained. Your driver's license and insurance card, which you're required to have when you're driving the state of Illinois. Understood. Correct? Correct. That is correct. And I do have that, correct? I don't know. I'm looking at it. You used to provide it. Didn't you? Absolutely not. I did not refuse anything. Is this your current address? I would not like to answer. Is this your current address? I'd like to remain silent, sir, unless I have an attorney present. Is this your current address? I would like to remain silent, sir. I would like to exercise my Fifth Amendment right. You have a more current insurance card. I would like to exercise my Fifth Amendment right. Everything there is completely valid and legal, and I'd like to exercise my Fifth Amendment right from here on out. Unless I have what is that? I would like to exercise my Fifth Amendment right from here on out unless I have an attorney. Say? Then I have the right to remain silent. Really? Absolutely. Are you sure? Yes, sir. Thank you. Am I free to leave? John. Yes, thank you. You guys have a great night.
What's your first and last name?
I don't have a last name.
You don't have a last
No.
name? What's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert. I'm not a person. See, you deal here with Admiralty Maritime Jurisdiction, which deals with persons, which I am not.
What are you?
I'm a man.
Are you human?
I'm a man, yes.
Are you a citizen?
No.
You're not a U.S. citizen.
I was not born in Washington, D.C. or any territory of the under federal jurisdiction, so no, I'm not a U.S. citizen.
You were in the United States of America and
I was born in America. Yes, I'm a state citizen of one of the several states. One of the several?
Which states?
Idaho?
Idaho. Can I see your Idaho state?
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't. And I don't wish to create joinder with you.
All right.
I'm going to go in and speak with the prosecutor. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement. All right. Well, P. Barnes, you just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not. You can't come in with the camera.
Well, you're violating my rights.
And this is also freedom of the press.
From behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man, but it doesn't apply to me.
Leave the camera with your mother outside the courtroom and you can come back.
You are not God. You have no jurisdiction over me.
God's not worried about cameras or hiding.
All right. Well, why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something wrong? Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else because they're afraid of being held accountable. Pete Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well, I mean, I don't have to go in because you can't even issue a warrant for me.
Might as well leave.
Well, no, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to speak with the
You can go
prosecutor.
in there without cameras.
Well, please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me
Step back.
and you're using. Stop, please. I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Put the cuffs on.
Put the cuffs on. What are you arresting me for?
How you doing today? Can I get your name? Police Department. Can I get your badge number? Can I get your badge number? It's 210. Can I see your driver's license? Okay. Let me ask you a question. As a man, what right do you have to stop another man? I would like to know why you stopped me. Because stopping me for speeding in and of itself is not a crime. According to the state of Texas, the actual it is the the attorney general, not the attorney general, but the prosecutor, the DA. So the DA is the one that stated on page 19 that speeding in and of itself is not a crime. It is not illegal. Then if this is a custodial stop, am I free to go? This is not custodial. You're detained. I'm being detained, right? Am I under arrest? You are not at this moment. Okay. Now you're saying that I am being detained. You are being detained. The laws only apply to vehicles that have. That's fine. Y'all are going. Let me see your driver's license. Then we have another cop pulling up, and I'm sitting here asking him the same thing. I need you to stand down and get your. Open your window now, or I'm gonna bust it out. Now you're going. Okay, I need you to call, and I need you to get your supervisor out here. I need your supervisor out here. I need your supervisor. I am asking him for his supervisor. I am asking you for your supervisor. Okay, officer, I'm asking you for your supervisor to come out here. Now you have busted my vehicle up, and now you are going to detain me. You are illegally getting into my vehicle, and now you have taken my car. On the ground. On the ground. All you have to do is give me his driver's license.
Okay. That was examples of what not to do. And that would be arguing with the police officer and in any respect in that manner. They're trained to follow certain procedures. And when you're starting to act anything in an adversarial manner, as you've seen from any one of those people, they created that situation. And when they could have actually acted in a respectful manner. It's been said to me that whenever you're dealing with a police officer, it's definitely not the perfect time to bring up all the bad things and throw a temper tantrum in the middle of that moment. You always want to act professional as possible so you can create the best possible outcome. Joey, you had some information that needs to be brought forward on this issue, and you had a presentation on this issue. But before we get there, Dan, are you there? Dan?
Yes, I am.
Okay, last week we were going over jurisdiction, and there are certain arguments that some of these people are bringing up, okay? And what we're seeing is people are doing it probably in the wrong place, or maybe they just don't know how to articulate the arguments, or maybe they're just wrong, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to pose your jurisdictional argument, and then I'm going to have Joey go over, try to address that, and also cover why the case laws that he has. And that'll make it so we kind of understand and we can apply it to a situation. So everybody here will be able to retain this information. So Dan, if you've got your video, or you can share your screen, and you want to go ahead and present your argument, you are on jurisdiction. You can go ahead and start now.
Jeremy, I just as soon pass to Joey. I think we'd like to expand with Nicole and the jurisdiction that was arguments that were put up. But jurisdiction, I think, there's multiple levels of jurisdiction. There's subject matter, there's territorial jurisdiction, which are the two lead, and probably the most misunderstood is the federal jurisdiction. So let's listen to Joey, and then maybe later we can follow up on that if I have anything else to add to it.
Okay, I understand. I completely, that's fair, completely. Joey, you had put together some reasons why people in the court system are not recognized, and sometimes they're looked at as just completely making frivolous arguments, and they don't understand why it's not actually hitting with the court, and they just don't understand why they're not seeing any remedy, and they think they know their argument, and they studied it, and they got everything there, and they think they completely understand it. However, when they go in there and they say this stuff to the court, they don't get the results that they want. And Joey, I think that if you could express the reason why today, I think that you'd give a lot of answers to a lot of people in this country, and you'd be doing a lot of benefit. As it is right now, there's not a lot of people that need to hear this argument here, but we will make sure to share it in the future. As it is right now, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very, very much, Jeremy. And Dan, I will say this, you're right. Federal jurisdiction is it's not understood as well. And I would like to say that what I'm going to talk about here when I share my screen is it's the way the world sees certain kinds of people. I'm going to go ahead and use those words. I hate the word sovereign citizen. And some people say they know those things are mutually exclusive and stuff like that right there. Well, see, the thing about it is, though, is that most of the sovereign citizens, and this is based on a document from the Southern Poverty Law Center. There's actually an article on this. They actually call, if you make it to the sovereign citizen list, you're considered a domestic terrorist. Okay. And that's pretty hardcore because we don't want to be considered domestic terrorists. There's a lot of things, as Nicole pointed out earlier today, and we were talking about this earlier before class, that when you're declared a terrorist, you become an enemy combatant, and you actually do go under military jurisdiction. And the funny thing about it is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways. What it is a lot of people in today's world are disenchanted by the disconnect that happens when our federal government or even some state governments seem to overreach with detachment. The frivolous little casual stop that the cop makes that calls and pull you over, you might be riding dirty or whatever, and you go through this hassle. One speeding ticket, one lack of insurance, one failure to pay child support. Hell, perhaps a dishonest company that files some lawsuits against you and gives you gutter service, and then they put something on your credit rating. And so suddenly it becomes like $1,000 to get the driver's license, and you're a good person. You want to believe that the system works, but the system has failed you. And it honestly has. So you're feeling very frustrated. You're feeling very angsty. That is a proper feeling. And that's understandable. You have people, though, that deliberately want to F with the system. They want to muck with an M with the system. They want to cause the system to become rooster cubed, as it were, and they do it deliberately. They're not true believers. One of the things that we have to look at this whenever we're examining this, and this is why, I understand the feeling of angst. I understand where everybody's coming from with a lot of these arguments, and the subtle points of departure that they make when they confuse the definition of jurisdiction with where they're at, you know, or what definition or level of jurisdiction that they're using, it gets confused. And if you take and actually trace from that subtle point of departure, it is logic sound if that applies. But see, one of the things like my doctor of law, which is actually a doctor of jurisprudence, it's a juris doctor. Jurisprudence is prudence is like when you carefully consider something. Okay, when you have prudence, you've carefully considered something, and juris is law. So a doctor of jurisprudence means I'm a doctor of carefully considering the law. You know, and I've done a lot of work in my dissertation and stuff like that in my undergrad on public policy and how we come out with public policy. But this disconnect that happens, which is righteous, and people are frustrated and they jump on the very first snake oil salesman that can come through, and it sounds logical and it's a good outlet. And some of those cops on that video there, man, those guys were dicks straight up. And there are other ways to handle those. And perhaps I shouldn't use that language, and I'm sorry, but I feel strongly about this. So before we begin, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the proper way to respond when you get pulled over. And this is from a guy, I literally wrote a book that's now available on Amazon called How to Avoid Arrest and Incarceration and How to Win a Criminal Jury Trial. And it's based on 30 years of experience. And it's, like I said, it's available on paperback. It's on Amazon. It's got an ISBN number. It's a real book. It's like based on my experience. And, so I want to tell you, this is the best way to do that tennis match. When they pull you over, the very first thing you should say, if you say anything, is, what did you check me at? Or what did you check me? And because number one, that's a code word. What did you check me? It lets them know that you actually have some members or some family members in law enforcement, or you might be law enforcement yourself. So the first thing you do is, you know, what'd you check me? How'd you check me? What'd you check me on? So you can kind of build up an exercise of discretion, because as I go through this, the discretion becomes important at some points. But second of all, when they say, you know, well, we got you for speeding or whatever, can I have your driver's license, this, that, and the other? Go ahead and to the best of your ability, if you have it, comply with it, because it's so much easier not to. The thing is, we don't want them searching our cars. So what they normally do when they get your driver's license and they get your insurance, you know, because they'll say, well, I stopped you for speeding. I stopped you for a bad tag light. That's a huge, huge thing. The tag light is like universal when they just want to F with you. Okay. So they say, I stopped you for a tag light. May I search your vehicle? Well, what further evidence of me having a busted tag light can you find by searching my vehicle? Well, the answer is none. So therefore, because their stop was based on a bad tag light, they asked to search your vehicle. What further evidence of that tag light can you find? When they say none, and they have to admit none, then you can say, well, no, you may not search my vehicle. Okay, what you've done by doing that, by asking what further evidence could they get by searching your vehicle, you know, of the crime they pulled you over on, it stops them from being able to use that horrible, if you don't have nothing to hide, you'll let us do it. Well, that's a hard one. Excuse my language. That's a hard one to answer to. But you don't have to answer to that one if you can say, what further evidence can you find of speeding by searching my vehicle? Well, none. Good. Bye. Okay. Or if you don't have a license, own it. I don't have a license. Okay. It's best that they not be expired or revoked, because I'm going to show you some case law here in a second on that one. But what you do is you want to engender them to like you. Okay. And if you know that there is going to be a search of your vehicle, if you know you're going to face an arrest, okay, you want to have it set up on their camera, because now they got body cams. They used to have just the cameras, the car cams. And so in the car cams, what they would do is they would speak real nice to you and they'd sound real good, but they'd be engaging in aggressive body language to try to bait you up. And so that's how they used to do that. They can't do that so much more with body cams. But be very polite. You know, what further evidence can you find of a tag light? Well, no, you can't search my vehicle. If they say that if you don't let us search your vehicle, we're going to get a warrant, then you can properly remind them that it's not reasonable and they are not allowed to bootstrap a dog search on your vehicle after you have refused the consent. Normally, from a reasonable standpoint, they can do a dog plain search, plain smell. It's a plain smell doctrine. And if any of the vocabulary words I would recommend for the week is all of the planes, the plain feel doctrine, the plain smell doctrine, the plain view doctrine, the plain feel doctrine, if I didn't say that. These are actually doctrines that apply, that allow them to basically, if it's in a situation where a normal person can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch something, then it's okay for the cops. It's not an unlawful search. And so they can also do inventory searches. If they do inventory searches on your vehicle, those look good. So you want to, so even if you've got a good case, even if they're bad cops, even if the stop is a bad stop, okay? If they get that inventory search, if you have bucked up and they have any evidence to arrest you or to carry you in, even if they're not going to, they get the inventory search. The inventory search is what's deadly. The inventory search is what makes your car cost $500. And they do drive up transaction costs because they want compliance. It's called the optimal abuse of power, and it happens on all sides. There's an article written about that. You can look it up. And the system is designed to not only tolerate certain abuses of power, it actually has an optimal point under game theory where this abuse of power is going to manifest, and it's going to manifest every time where you have these unequal stasises, these unequal conditions. In the video that you saw where the people were getting away and they were driving off, but the cop looked like he was about to bust them in the mouth. Those people were successful engaging in the optimal abuse of the kind of power we're talking about here. They almost crossed the line, but it sucks, but that's the real politics. But now what I want to do is in Alaska, we specifically have some cases because I'm actually working on my second book now, and it's going to be called Pseudo Law Debunked. I'm going to share my screen so that y'all can see this if I may. Okay. So, yep. So there we are. I don't know if y'all can see it. Whoops. We got it. Am I up on my screen? Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay. So you notice I've got here the case is actually the file is called Pseudo Law Debunked. And what I've done is I've went through, and these are the number of states and federal jurisdictions I have so far that deal with every single state that I've dealt with and I've looked up so far, and territory, with the exception of Washington, D.C., ironically enough, has got a case or two that deals with the sovereign citizen issue. And so what I want to do, though, is let's take you to the one for Alaska that I have, because, there's mainly two of them. And Burden here is the hot topic for Alaska. This comes from the Alaska Court of Appeals in March 18th of 2016. Okay, I can't highlight, and my screen is dark because I can't see. Y'all know that. And so, but we're going to come down here and we're going to see that, Mr. Burden was convicted in 2004 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, and he appealed, and we affirmed his convictions. And now, more than 10 years after his direct appeal, he filed a 55-page pro se petition for writ of habeas corpus. And these are the argument now. But this is what we look at on appeal. He renews his argument that the Superior Court lacked jurisdiction over his underlying criminal case. He asserts that he is a sovereign citizen and that absent his consent, the state of Alaska has no power to enforce its criminal laws against him. Courts across the country have universally rejected these types of sovereign citizen claims, dismissing them as misguided, footnote, completely without merit, footnote, and having no conceivable validity in American law, footnote. We likewise find no merit in Burden's argument. Now then, okay, Article 4, Section 1 of the Alaska Constitution grants the legislature authority to prescribe the jurisdiction of courts within the state. The legislature has authorized the Superior Court to exercise original jurisdiction in all criminal matters, and this jurisdiction extends to the whole of Alaska. Thus, because Burden's criminal act occurred in Alaska, the Superior Court had jurisdiction over Burden in his criminal matter, notwithstanding his alleged status as a Native Alaskan sovereign citizen. Okay, but I want to come down here because, see, it's the footnotes in here that are just awesome. Because we're going to come down here with United States v. Mitchell, which I have right here. Okay. United States v. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell was one of 4 defendants that moved to dismiss charges based on a lack of jurisdiction. Okay, we're going to come down here and it says, I'm going to skip 1 because that's like their opinion of it. We're going to come to 2 where they actually start messing with them. Number 2, it says the defendant's challenge. Oh, and by the way, because this Mitchell case is a footnote to the Burden case, which is an Alaska case, then that means that it applies to Alaska. They have incorporated the dicta and the reasoning of these cases in the footnotes completely in Nebraska law. So this is proper to consider. And it says in number 2 here, the defendant's challenge to jurisdiction is, well, shit. Okay, don't want to do that. Don't want to comment. Is unusual, if not bizarre. The defendants claim that the court does not have jurisdiction, quote, for lack of verified complaint, unquote. They also state that the court, quotes, lacks subject matter jurisdiction over the race and lacks the subject matter jurisdiction over the rib. The motions dated November 8th, 2005 are supported by sources of law that are not ordinarily associated with challenges to criminal jurisdiction, including the Uniform Commercial Code and the federal rules of civil procedure. Okay, we come down. The exact theory relied on by the defendants is difficult to ascertain, but seems to be related to their common statements insisting that I do not consent. Think about that. That's what we heard a lot of that in there. And I do not understand the attached documents. The defendants also persistently claim they are not properly identified in the caption of the indictments because their names are printed in all capital letters, thereby failing to properly represent them as flesh and blood men. Okay, now see, we've all heard these arguments. They're enticing when we first get them made to us and all, but here's what the real deal, that the courts with the guns that will just like gorillas with sticks, if you poke them, they're going to treat you like a king, Rodney King, and they're going to beat you down. Okay. And it says these arguments are patently without merits. Perhaps they would be even humorous were the stakes not so high. Do you not? I mean, the court is basically lamenting there. The court is crying out the best way it could, almost like, the great teacher in the scripture that, woe, woe unto you. The arguments are patently without merit. Perhaps they would even be humorous were the stakes not so high. To begin with, UCC has no bearing on criminal subject matter jurisdiction. In crossing out the front page of their indictments, the defendants cite UCC 3.501. The court takes this to mean UCC 3-501. This section of Uniform Commercial Code, however, pertains to the presentation of negotiable instruments. It is unfathomable how such a provision has any relevance in a criminal proceeding. The defendants also cite Rule 12H3 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Again, this has nothing to do with the instant case. Although the rule does pertain to courts dismissing actions for lack of jurisdiction of the subject matter, the rule applies only to civil actions. This is a criminal action. I mean, and it goes on through the force. As a matter of fact, another case that they cite, not only Mitchell cited a lot. We also have Snyder, which I have right here. And Snyder also, let's come on up here real fast. So this is Snyder. Oh, this is Beneby. Oh, Beneby is even better because Beneby is a 7th Circuit case that is relied on by almost every case and every court that cites these kind of laws. As a matter of fact, if you notice, it's cited right here in this other footnote. I didn't get Jagum, but let's just look at what the footnotes say. Okay, when we look at Mitchell, it says characterizing sovereign citizens' claims as patently frivolous would be humorous were the stakes not so high. In Beneby, regardless of an individual's claim status as a sovereign citizen, a secured party creditor, a flesh and blood human being, the person is not beyond the jurisdiction of the courts. Then Snyder, rejecting ineffective assistance of counsel claim because the defendant would have the same, quote, irreconcilable difference with any ethical and competent attorney due to his proposed sovereign citizen defense. And concluding that because the defense has, quote, no conceivable validity in American law, the judge would not have permitted it to be presented to the jury, and no reputable lawyer would have been found to attempt to persuade the judge otherwise. Okay, so we got Beneby. Beneby is kind of cool because, we got these guys are like some drug cartel folks. And as you could tell right here, this is kind of funny because you could tell these guys were some serious dudes because they had to have an anonymous jury. That's what they struck an anonymous jury, which means these guys are bad people and they don't want to know who the jury is. You don't really want to do that. But, okay, absence of the people in the courtroom. These 2 defendants in here, they got so off the chain that the judge had to take them out of the courtroom because of their disruptions. Okay. Now, what we do in this disruptions, because this is what's going to happen. When you start spouting arguments in the courtroom, they're going to shut you down and they can actually remove you from the courtroom and try the case in your absence because of the disruptive nature of some of the people that are maliciously using these beliefs and stuff. Okay, but removal of the accused from his criminal trial will rarely be justified, but it was justified by this record. So that says that, 90% of the time you cannot take an accused person out of his own trial, but on this record, it's justified. Let's pay attention to what's on this record right here. It was justified by this record, which we describe in detail to show the judge's efforts to ensure the trial would be fair for all parties before removing these two defendants from the courtroom. De La Torre played the leading role. He was represented by 2 attorneys, but on December 16th, he filed the first of more than 20 pro se documents describing himself as sovereign secured party creditor Fernando de la Torre. In these papers, he challenges the legitimacy of the United States government, its jurisdiction over him, the validity of the charges brought against him. He claimed to be a sovereign and he's immune from prosecution. And Benaby later joined Torre in his efforts to thwart the proceedings by his own assertions of sovereignty and immunity. So you understand that when they use words like thwart that they don't normally use, you don't normally see, thwart has a particular meaning, and that should go on our vocabulary list for this week, along with the plain view, plain smell, plain sight, and plain touch. Thwart, okay? Thwart, what kind of word? What the tone of the word, just it sounds bad. Anyway, on October 17, 2007, the court heard argument on De La Torre's motion to suppress evidence. De La Torre appeared but refused to participate because his attorneys, quote, refused to represent me as a flesh and blood human being. And the next day, giving De La Torre the benefit of a doubt, the court ordered De La Torre to undergo a competency evaluation. And one of the funny things is when you see the cases like this that deal, this is a disruption case. This is what I call a disruption case, where these guys are just off the chain, oh yeah, so I don't even know. Let's just go down because this gets kind of out there. In the status hearing, he referred to himself as a secured party creditor, third party intervener. He claimed that he was not the person named in the indictment because his name was not spelled out in all capital letters as it was in the indictment. He demanded to know the prosecutor will quote what legal definition of the term person are you applying for purposes of these proceedings. And in the court's next status hearings, he repeated that he was a born sovereign, flesh and blood human being. Anyway, we come on down here and y'all can look this stuff up because it's in this case for Alaska. It's adopted in with Alaska law. There we are. And the following day, the court issued an opinion regarding his sovereign citizen theories and recounting the disruptive behavior. And the written opinion warned him that his continued failure to obey the court's orders could result in him being barred. Okay, we go on and you see this long litany that I don't want to go into because, Mr. De La Torre has disrupted, and the record will reflect that every single one of the last proceedings he has interrupted repeatedly, asking me to get 120 or so prospective jurors who have been carefully selected, who will probably go through a snowstorm to get here, and to taint them with one of his outbursts, and at which point we'll have to delay the trial again while we try to put together a required jury pool. I'm not willing to do that, and I don't think any defendant should control a federal courtroom to that extent. Okay, we keep on coming down to this analysis, and then analyze the misconduct. Ultimately, here's what the deal is. Our intention is not to quash the presentation of creative legal arguments or novel legal theories asserted in good faith, but arguments raised by these defendants were not in good faith. We have repeatedly rejected theories of individual sovereignty, immunity from prosecution, and their ilk. And then it states, United States v. Burke, United States versus Hillford, rejecting the shop warrant argument that a defendant is a sovereign and beyond the jurisdiction. Again, shop warrant. Okay. Then we can describing the defendant's proposed sovereign citizen defense as having no conceivable validity in American law. I mean, they're hammering them. Due process in the Sixth Amendment. They go through and they analyze with all of these pages. I'm going to drop down to the bottom of the pages here. They do it. How many pages is this altogether? Avoiding and aiding and abetting insurrection, pattern of racketeering activity. Oh my God, what is that? Aiding and abetting, instruction, not insurrection. Racketeering, okay, all these other instructions, but they go all the way down to the bottom and look what they do. They affirm the convictions and the sentences. And then they even say, they reject all the arguments except for one, which was not sovereign related. So even if those guys are right, the courts have rejected them. And we know that. We know that the courts will reject them. And it's not because we're wrong, and it's not because our feelings are wrong. It's because the arguments are discounted. Here's a guy in Missouri that this matters before us, a review of the civil complaint and request for proceed informal paupers. This guy is in prison, and he started filing habeas corpus relief in the federal courts. Okay. He submitted pleadings in bulk and stated that he intended each pleadings to be docketed as individual civil action. Okay. The biggest things, they reviewed it for the sovereign citizen stuff. I'm trying to find the good stuff. I had it marked in there. I don't want to waste everybody's time. And but basically, this cat was allowed to proceed to the extent that the plaintiff alleges right here. To the extent the plaintiff alleges he is entitled to relief based upon his status as a sovereign citizen, such claim is frivolous. And then the science Beneby describing the conduct of a sovereign citizen in collecting cases, rejecting the group's claims is frivolous and to be rejected summarily, however they are presented. I can't stress this enough. They are to be rejected, no matter how solid you think that it is. We know to see it. Finally, the complaint would also be subject to dismissal as malicious. As explained above, plaintiff has repeatedly and knowingly engaged in litigation practices that amount to abuse of the judicial process. It is apparent that he filed the complaint as a part of a general campaign of harassment, not a legitimate attempt to indicate a cognizable right. This is where a lot of folks that these are the love to fight people. What I call the love to fight people. It's what the Southern Poverty Law Center actually over here calls the love to fight people. There's this article right here, and it goes through and it describes in detail every single, and it's got the history of them. It's got Shauna Cox, 2021, arrested in Kane County, Utah for failing to appear in court over trash infractions. Okay. She attempted to plead the 5th, 6th, 7th Amendments and claimed that her case was the common law courts. Her supporters, including anti-government activist Cliven Bundy, who someone, Jeremy and his son, and Ryan's actually really cool when they won their stuff. They stood outside the courtroom for testing her arrest. She was released on bail. Then she was back in court and spent her next appearance accusing the court, the judge, and the county of wrongdoing, including criminal acts. Basically, all of this was unlawful status hearing. You know, when you go through, it goes through and explains this, but all of this is actually a $20 ticket. She loves to fight. Many new recruits to the sovereign citizens movement are people who have found themselves in desperate situation and are searching for a quick fix, often due to the economy or foreclosures. Others are intrigued by notions of easy money and living a lawless life from unpleasant consequences. For many, it's a political issue. They don't like taxes, traffic laws, child support obligations, or banking practices, but they are too impatient to try to change what they dislike through traditional political means. The Sovereign Group Republic for the United States of America successfully recruited members over the past decade by marketing themselves as a sovereign Christians who were forming a government that would one day run America. You know, that's just not happening. And anyway, it goes through here. Now, when the Bundys, sovereign citizens who coordinated standoffs at their ranch in Nevada in 2014, and the wildlife shared their ideologies with huge groups of anti-government patriots, they reached other potential recruits. In 2018, Ryan Bundy ran for governor of Nevada on a sovereign citizen platform. Now, see, but the Bundys have got a distinct difference in how they're doing their stuff. They're not taking it to this line of insanity. They're actually managing to catch what's called zeitgeist, you know, the spirit of the times, the milieu, and they're providing a place for these disenfranchised to rally around. But they're also very, 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 very careful. But anyway, if you look at this right here, you can see that they go through and they list all of this is huge stuff.
Hey,
on. Sorry.
Joey, 1 second. Can you back up and go to that part where it started to talk about Julie Embry? It explained who she was. 1 second. I want to see what that says.
Okay. I'm sorry. As y'all can tell, man, I want to show y'all how to do it right because I know how to do it right. and these guys aren't wrong. I'm
not saying that. Just there's a little bit of you just sprung a nerve. I was looking at something. I was like, wait a second here. Let me see what you just did. You went to the part where Ryan Bundy was talking about, and he was associated to
Yeah,
a lady named
with Julie Embry of North Richland, Texas, North Richland Hills, Texas. Embry helped him complete several legal filings using sovereign citizen terminology. Embry is a member of a group of faux marshals called the Continental Marshals for the Republic, whose members were often recruited by a group known as the Superior Court of the Continental United States, which coordinated common law courts in various states. The marshals are meant to be the enforcement arm of the common law courts. Now, see, check this out. This is what's so funny. This is where the disconnect comes. Okay. And I don't know if y'all can see me on my little picture thing with the camera too, but if you enter into a contract with like a church or with a club or something like that, that as between members, you will arbitrate this in the common law courts. Guess what? An arbitrator is a private judge. You can contract yourself to be involved in something like a common law court, but it's really called arbitration. See, the official name for it is arbitration. See, none of these groups yet have legitimacy through either overthrow, peaceful regime change, non-peaceful regime change, or ballot box change. Okay. Each one of these groups that you see here, the Superior Court of the Continental United States, the Republic for the United States, and stuff like that, through the political process, or if things reach a head and come to a very big pimple head and pop, they could do it through other non-peaceful means. You know, we never know how that's going to shake out. We pray that it doesn't, and I'm not advocating that. I truly advocate that we use the peaceful political means, but all of these groups can become legitimate. So see, the thing is not that they're wrong, they're just not right for the reasons they think they're right. And so what we got to do is we got to show them that the reasons why they're right, for the reasons why they're right, that will be acceptable to the legitimate authorities and stuff. This is actually, if y'all want to look up on the Southern Poverty Law Center, it's literally got an article. And what's cool is some of the Jeremy's friends, glad to be able to say that, for him, because, and I've talked to Ryan, and I think he's actually a pretty cool guy. I think most of these guys, I think all of you guys are cool, and I don't think that what we're doing is wrong at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you one of the coolest pictures I've ever seen in my life here with this one. As soon as it opens. Yep, there we go. This is War in the West, the Bundy Ranch standoff and the American radical right. Okay. That is one of the most bad, derriere pictures I have ever seen in my life. And I am proud to know people that know the people that are in this picture. Because that right there, when you look at it, it makes your heart like rise up and thrum, because, man, these guys are righteous. In their cases, I understand it, the federal government started beating them to death with 10,000 regulations that just made it untenable and were unnecessary. So they said, ascend your intercourse, as it were, and engage in ascending coitus. And they stood them down, and they had a local government that was friendly for it. I think that that's awesome. I know someone that might be going to trial on a religious matter in that same jurisdiction where they're trying to mess with someone over some religious issue. And all I can think about is, wow, that would be a really dumb thing to have a jury trial after you just lost the standoff on property rights, to have a jury trial on a religious matter that's obviously out of bounds. And people will be stupid to do that. But sometimes when individual prosecutors or judges look for that glory, that's what happens. But so let's go back now to, let's look at some more of these. This is US v. Schneider. This is the cool thing about Google Scholar. You can get the house cited. And so US v. Schneider, it goes, let's just go there. Okay. This guy, Snyder, threatened a couple of judges, Superior Court judges, with writing sovereign citizen letters like we do, trying to put those UCC liens on them and stuff. Well, his was taken as a threat. And the threat in this case was ambiguous, but the task of interpretation was for the jury. Yeah. Mr. Schneider, he was a piece of work, man. The letter after he lost his lawsuit was, "Dear public serpents," and high and mighty yo-yos, and contains alleged language alleging the threatening of, "I remind you again that this idiota persona non grata, which I think was a cool way to say it, the circuit court judge, is of your problem, and if is allowed to continue to be mine, he will be executed as depending, perhaps warning, to others as enemies of the Constitution and nation by his act of war. You had better nullify, and countermand any of his demented orders, or he will be nullified for his criminal activities. Yeah, that was a threat on a judge that caught Mr. Schneider some federal time. And he probably had some good faith beliefs in what he was doing. And I feel bad for him because I can appreciate the cojones that it takes to write something like this. But if you write something like this and you're going to be wrong on your theory, make sure you spell your words right. Instead of nullify. But anyway, we see that when we shepherdize through House Cited, that we have repeatedly rejected theories of individual sovereignty, immunity from prosecution, and their ilk. That's in Beneby and 17 other cases cited. Again.
Hey, Joey,
now
it looks like we have a couple question comments in the chat.
Okay.
If you're up for,
Share with me. I'm sorry, I just got on it. Yeah.
no, it's okay. There are two comments by the same person. Here's the first comment. The people are sovereign in that they replaced the British crown in order to rule themselves collectively. A man or woman is not sovereign from the jurisdiction of the people. So that's the first comment. Do you want to respond?
That is correct. As a matter of fact, once again, I think that this is an example of a subtle departure. That sentence is 100% technically true. What you do with it is different. Because, for instance, when we severed our ties to Britain, yes, that's what we mean by free country. It doesn't mean that the citizens are free to do what they want to do. It means that our government does not answer to or is beholden to as a suzerainty, spelled Suzerienty, suzerainty, I think, which means it's an independent country that another country does its foreign diplomacy for it. We're not one of those. We are a truly independent country. And the people collectively do rule themselves. But how they rule themselves is through a line of legitimacy that has to trace itself through either violent revolution, peaceful election transfers of power, or some other way. You just can't up and start your own stuff in a place that's already got an overlay on it. Now then, another example of this where you see some subtle departure in the state of Georgia, where I'm from. They have Georgia Constitution says that the legislative power of the state is vested in the General Assembly of the state of Georgia. As a result of that, we do not have in Georgia recall, remand, or initiative. And well, hold on a second. In Alaska, they give the people the power so that the people
make
can
you a bird
override
nest. Okay, I will.
the people of Alaska can override what the legislature says because the Constitution, the organizing document for
Hummus and chips
is different. In Georgia, they can't. I'm sorry. So that's all I have on that one. It's 100% true, but it's not true for the point of departure that people take it to. We delegate power to our representatives, and depending upon the organizing document, you can either be like California and Alaska, where you do initiative, referendum, and stuff, and that's where you get grassroots activism. Or you have it like Georgia, where there is no grassroots, and they don't really care what the people say except at election time. And so that's the way it really works. I mean, aspirationally, it's different, but whenever you're dealing with the gorilla with a stick, that's the way it is.
Yeah, sorry for my noise disturbance. The next comment is, a traffic stop is a cessation of commerce. A motor vehicle is a commercial conveyance, not a private conveyance. A driver or motor vehicle operator is a professional occupation for hire or making a profit by using the public roadways.
You want to address that, Joey?
Yeah, this is under the Texas driver's license debunk myth. Generally, Texas law requires a person to hold a driver's license to operate a vehicle on the highway, to operate a vehicle. Okay, there's a lot of cases out there that, okay, I'm going to put that on the screen there and y'all can look at it while I explain this one. First of all, yes, it is a commercial entity. Whenever you're using the roads, you are in commerce, but not because you're driving a vehicle. You're in commerce because you're using the roads. That's first and foremost. Second of all, you do have an absolute right to travel. This is where the splitting hairs comes in. Without a doubt, if there's a public road or highway, you have an absolute right to travel upon it. You do not have an absolute right to operate what is in essence a death machine at 75 miles an hour on that publicly financed roadway without showing or being required or without some sort of showing of competency to operate it. You know, the public in general, the more than one person, the we that is I, the Ubuntu, as it were, we have a right to not be subjected to unreasonable danger from another person. And just like we have to have firearm license and we got firearm serial numbers, you got to be able to operate. You got to be able to regulate who can drive a vehicle. Okay, now everybody can drive. Don't get me wrong. Everybody can drive, you know, and it's like everybody can have a baby. You don't necessarily want everybody to do those two things, but you can. Okay. Regardless of, and this is the most important thing, and because I hear what you're saying, and let me slow down on this because this is really hard for people to get. They can go in through statute every time that a state legislature meets. They can go in through statute and change the definition of driver's license, operator, and vehicle operator. And I assure you that lawyers have tried every permutation they possibly can to get people off because that's what they get paid to do. Okay. Every time a lawyer finds a loophole, the legislature will close it. In 1930 something in Texas, they did indeed have a law that called it an operator's license, not a driver's license. And so in the 1950s, some people were charged with driving without no driver's license. Well, because licensing is a creature of statute, okay, a creature of statute, not common law. It's in derogation of the common law and it's a creature of statute. Okay. They went in and they fixed that hole, that loophole. It had gotten too big. So then they defined a driver's license as any authorization to operate a vehicle as an operator on the highways. Okay. And this is okay. It's like it says right here, at the time the Court of Criminal Appeals issued their opinion, the pertinent statute requiring a license to operate a motor vehicle on Texas highways referred to an operator's license. Well, now that same statute has changed and it refers to it as a driver's license. So what was true before is not true today. It doesn't mean that you can't operate without a driver's license. I feel bad because I'm fixing to tell y'all some very horrible stuff here. If you're going to drive without a driver's license, and I have a good story on that one because see, when my eyes went bad and I let my driver's license expire, I waited too long because I didn't think I could pass the eye test to get my license renewed. And during that time period, enough time had passed that I had to go take another driver's test. And I got peed off because I lost my motorcycle endorsement because I didn't have a motorcycle when I went to go drive a test. I had a car that I was using. I didn't have a motorcycle, so I couldn't get my motorcycle endorsement back. But I'm a fully qualified motorcycle rider and have been for 35 years. Okay. And I have had active motorcycle licenses. Nowadays, I will still have a motorcycle whenever I get my eyes fixed. As a matter of fact, probably next week, I'm going to go out and get one just in preparation to have my eyes fixed. I am going to drive that motorcycle on the highway without a motorcycle endorsement. But I know that I'm going to drive it like that. I know that if I get caught, I'm going to have a solution to talk them out of giving me or taking my fucking motorcycle. Excuse my language. But I'm not going to rely on something that every state in the country says if I rely on this, it's going to make it worse for me. It doesn't matter the appeal of the argument. It doesn't matter the sensibleness of what you say when you make these arguments. They're all solid. And I'm not trying to bust anybody's gonads on account of it because it's appealing, it's seductive. But let us be clear that if we are driving without a driver's license, make sure that's the only thing that you're doing wrong and that you're not riding dirty. You're not carrying something in your vehicle that could be make it even worse if they got an inventory search out of you. Make sure that you don't look like somebody that they want to beat the crap out of. You know what I'm saying? Pass generically. And if you want to know what all else you can do, you can go to like the if you can see this right here. This is I have a bumper sticker where I went to a Meet the Police breakfast sponsored by the American Legion a couple of weeks ago. And I have that on my post office tag key. Put one on the back of your vehicle. My housemate has one on the back of the vehicle. And he believes, like a lot of us, that she shouldn't have to have a driver's license, and screw them and this, that, and other. But he put this tag on the back. If he'd have been pulled over, he might have met the gorilla with a stick. But his genericness, his look decentness, his just blandness combined with the sticker gave him enough of an illusion that the cop went by. So he got by for another day with no license and this so-called bond that he drives on, which is another issue. I'm not saying that I haven't done it. I'm not saying that I'm not going to do it. I'm saying I know that whenever I'm operating a motor vehicle without a driver's license, that's what I'm doing. And I will tell them the same story I told y'all. And that's not a bad thing. But don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself and think that if you use these arguments, you're going to get away with it. Because what's going to happen is you're actually going to have the case is going to be aggravated. And I have some more cases on my stuff. Like I said, I got this right here, and I've been going on for a while now, almost 247. I mean, I get off on this. The thing I want to just let y'all know is if you type in the word sovereign citizens, okay. Oh, this one here, Berman v. Stevens, because this is another good one. Finding that a prisoner's reliance on the UCC or so-called sovereign citizen theory that he is exempt from prosecution and beyond the jurisdiction of the state or federal courts is frivolous. If you don't take anything else from this right here, I want you to understand what is said in Bruce v. Atlas in 2017 and 4 other similar citations that Berman v. Stevens, which is a Westlaw site, made in 2015. Okay. Habeas claims based on the UCC and trust laws have been repeatedly rejected by this court and others. Okay. They routinely dismiss sovereign citizens' claims, like those found in Brown's petition and affidavit. It doesn't matter if we're right. The fact of the matter is the people that have the authority to use the guns on us and to put us and arrest us will look at you and laugh, and they'll make it worse for wasting their time. What I suggest that we do, all the people like us, is that you go out, you get online, you look up some hypnosis and some NLP YouTube videos, take you some classes in clinical hypnosis, learn how to persuade people to have your way without them really knowing what you're doing when you're doing it. Then you learn how to handle these people on the spot so that when they exercise their jurisdiction over you, they'll use their discretion to let you go because you're a good fella. And what you won't do is aggravate the people. I don't know if I'm still on, if my internet has went off, because I don't see the yellow thing, but
You're fine.
We can hear you.
This is something that is such an awesome picture, guys. I can't tell you enough, man. That's awesome. I wish I'd have been a part of that. I want to be a part of something like that. I want to be a part of the change. I want us to be a part of the change. But we're going to have to do it within the accepted system, or we're going to have to use guns. And it's not to the point of guns. But it will be on their side if we make these frivolous arguments. And it's going to hamper us. But anyway, I'm going to return anytime I have left. I don't know if this addressed what everybody wanted to, but as y'all can tell, I'm very passionate. I don't want y'all to mess up. I want to send y'all out in the world to really mess with man. And that's all I got.
Joey,
Thank you very much,
Cut it off
Joey.
now.
Thank
Joey,
you very much.
How
for
do I
that
stop
presentation.
sharing?
I want to let everybody know that we are going to have to wrap up. I mean, we only have 2 hours here. We do want to probably revisit some of these topics at all. And we want to do to more thoroughly to make it so people do kind of understand. But I do believe we got a really good breakdown of why these arguments are not being recognized, why they're recognizing some of these people as like domestic terrorists, why they're being attacked, why their motions are being denied, all that type of stuff. And that's why it's so important for us to really know how to approach the court in the correct manner to get the desired result. If anyone does have any questions, I will open up the floor for 10 minutes to make it so people that do have questions regarding anything that we have brought up can be answered if we can. Dan, do you have a question?
No, it wasn't a question. I was gonna say to Joey, since he likes that Bundy picture, I have pictures, videos, and everything of those original events. A large collection of them. As they
That
were-
is awesome. I would really like to get, I mean, I would like to have a framed version of that or something that's like the painting version, like when you put it through an art program and you make it the painted version, because that is that's a timeless picture there. I love it. Thank you.
Well, there's actually
really
a picture of Cliven drawn by, I can't think of his name, famous artist right now, with his head bowed on the horse standing with the flag. But I was a participant with Ryan Bundy from Oregon and Nevada. And I originally got involved with watching it, and it took an interest off of Facebook and saw some of the actual very first footages that were posted by people on their own cell phones and cameras. And I knew they'd be taken down, so I started collecting them. And I have a large collection of that. So
Nice.
Joey, you can contact me and we'll talk about it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else with any questions at all?
Yeah, I had a question on something, maybe a point of clarification. I don't know. Joey had mentioned several weeks ago, he was talking about federal law and state laws, and it was pertaining to a situation like with environmental controls. And I would liken it to say it would be like the federal government says, yeah, you can drill oil, but then when it comes down to the state puts its own caveats on it, and they can make a tighter law regarding that federal law. And I'm thinking that that's really kind of what the driver's license issue is sure, Constitution says you have the right to travel, but then when it comes down to the states put their caveats on it.
That's actually a really, really good analogy and one of the best that I've heard on that. And it's kind of funny because I thought you were going to go into some preemption issues. You know, sometimes when the states try to regulate something, the feds will say, nope, it's called complete regulation. We've got it, everything. We completely subsume the field. And in other things, the states say, well, Fed can't really do this. And it's such a crapshoot to decide how the court's going to go on some of these things. And that's where you get some uncertainty. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, whenever you speak of if they put fringe on the flag, it changes laws. That can't be true if you stop and think about the multi-million-dollar businesses that are in your area. Because think about if you had $1 million, would you go invest it somewhere that the government could just change something as frivolous as a flag and then say, oh, now we're taking all your stuff because we changed the flag? No, you'd never have anybody make any investment. There's no solidity. That's called ad hoc decision making with no rhyme or reason. And so therefore you can't build a successful system. Now, the funny part is though, is whenever you look at stuff like that right there, it's not saying that it doesn't appear to be that way. But if y'all will stick with us, with me and Jeremy and Nicole through the next coming, however long this takes, I'll show you the real way to trace it. That through 30 years of engaging, you know, I used to wear a very black hat and I had to be a balance to the white hat in my area. And I had to do all the things that come with that. And that was necessary because that's the real system behind the system. And it has nothing to do with what y'all think it does. I could certainly, and you'll be able to pick it up through the years. But you're very right that a federal law can do one thing, right to travel, and the states can make it more strict. And that's where the environmental stuff, that's where a lot of states use the California emission standards, because the EPA emission standards are really, you know, are kind of tough. Californians are even tougher. I'm involved with a patent for what's called a dumpster, which is a vending machine that you throw your trash in and pay as you throw jurisdictions. And we were having problems with the county commission on getting some permits. So I just said, screw this. I didn't want to deal with 159 county commissions. So I went to my state EPA in Georgia and I got what's called a permit by rule, and I just bypassed all of them. So, you know, I got jurisdiction to run the whole state with this particular waste disposal thing now by the administrative agency. I didn't have to have a federal EPA, but the state EPA overrode all the little county commissions. And see, those are the real tricks of the trade. Because, but that was great, man. Brian, Mr. Parker, that was a very good analogy. And I'm sorry I got off on a tangent again, but that was all.
All right, is there anyone else that has a question? Okay. Well, hearing there is no questions, we are going to release the vocab list afterwards. We're going to send it to you in the chat on Alaska Task Force. You're going to be sent out in the messages. If it's not, I'll just put it in the news feed to make it so everyone has it. We're going to go over the next week's vocabulary in the class. You can kind of prep it before you get there, but other than that, we want to make sure that you do understand it before you test on it. Please read chapter 3 this week and try to understand that we are going to test you on that next week, just to see if you can actually retain what we are saying. The thing is we're trying to make sure that you are understanding some of this stuff and being able to retain it, and that's why we're testing on you and some of the angles that we're trying to present to make it so you have more understanding on the experience. We're in chapter 3 or 4, Nicole? 4?
I believe we're in 4 because chapter 3 was legal citations, and we kind of grouped that in with vocabulary, and they were supposed to read chapter 3 for this lesson today. But if chapter 3 or 2 and 3 were kind of lumped together a bit.
All right, perfect. Okay, so basically we're going to teach chapter 4 next week, and then we're going to test on it. And we'll put the test out, I guess, on the substance of chapter 3 here shortly. And then you can be tested on that too. We'll send you that. Other than that, I do believe we had an excellent class. I want to thank you, Joey, for your presentation. You did an outstanding job. And Dan, thank you for your questions and your statements as well. And Brian, I want to thank you as well. Other than that, I think we're going to wrap this up for the day, and you all have an awesome week. We will talk to you next Monday at 10 a.m. Alaska time. God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank y'all for being here, really. Tell your friends.